Today I'm finally getting round to the Arteza review that I've been meaning to do this all year and I just haven't got round to trying them out. So what I'll be reviewing today are the Arteza Expert Coloured Pencils, and I'm looking down because I've got everything written down here. I've got like 3-4 pages of notes just to make sure that I can get through this with the least amount of awkwardness possible. So I'm reviewing the Arteza Artist Quality Expert Coloured Pencils, the full set of 72, and the Arteza Premium Acid-Free Heavyweight Spiral Bound Drawing Pad. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, Arteza sent me an email on my old email address and asked me to make a video in exchange for them sending me some art supplies. So they chose the art supplies that they thought would be most suited to the type of artwork that I do, and they sent me those. But unfortunately I lost contact with the lady. I think her name was Julie or Jenny, something like that. I lost contact with her, so I never got to send her the video. So far I've made 3 full pieces using just these, pretty much just these art supplies, because I really wanted to give them a real fair chance and use them properly rather than just doing like first impressions, because I don't feel like you really get a lot from just a first impressions. I started with the James Dean portrait, and I originally intended for this portrait to just be in black and white. What I was going to do is what I do with all of my black and white portraits, most of my black and white portraits. I start off with a black coloured pencil, and then I use that for the darkest darks, and I lay that down first so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'll go in with the graphite pencils and I'll use those to fill in all my midtones. After I'd laid down the darks, I changed my mind. With the price of the supplies in mind, I thought this was a good opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone and try and use certain colours that look really pretty when you swatch them and when they're in the tin, but when you're doing realistic portraits you never really get the chance to use them. You're always just using like browns and greys mostly, which renders something realistic but it doesn't look as pretty as it could. And that's something I've been really wanting to do this year and I've just never got around to it. I've just always been a little bit afraid, so I thought this was the perfect time to experiment. So to organise my thoughts, I've written a pro-con list of both of the coloured pencils and the paper. I didn't actually get around to using the graphites. Like I said, I was trying to get away from the black and grey, brown and grey just for this, but I will get around to using them eventually once I think of a way to incorporate them so that it's not so grey. But I haven't thought of that yet, but I will. With the pencils in mind, this is the pro-con list. Obviously, the price is a massive, massive pro. They're less than £20. Anyway, so they're so cheap. They're less than £20 for the full set, and that includes the delivery cost. The downside to that, which is quite a big downside in my opinion, and I've asked them about this and they said they are considering doing this in the future, but they don't sell the pencils open stock, which is so annoying. So when I'd finished this piece, I was thinking of doing a whole series just using these colours. So I was going to repurchase the singles of these colours because I've pretty much I've worn most of them down. As a professional, you're always using certain colours more than others. So that was annoying, but that did again push me out of my comfort zone of just keeping to the same colour palette, because then I thought this is a good opportunity to use even more colours that I wouldn't use usually. So if you are doing realistic portraits or and like pet portraits, this will be a tricky one because you won't be able to repurchase the pencils, so that's a downside. Another pro is that there are actually a lot of colours in this set that I don't have in my current sets already. So when I was doing the sort of like turquoisey green background on this James Dean portrait, I actually went through my Faber-Castell collection and my Caran d'Ache collection to see what comparable colours that they had, because I was really looking for a specific sort of turquoisey aqua colour to go in the background. The Arteza Coloured Pencil that I chose was actually the closest to the colour that I wanted, so I was really surprised by that. But a con that kind of goes along with that is that the pigments, even though they are really nice and soft and the pigment lays down very quickly, it can be uneven. And if you've used pencils before, like slightly lower grade pencils sometimes, and this is something that I've never found with coloured pencils, it's always been graphite pencils, that you can get like hard chunks in them and random pigment. So I know when I was using the green one, I think it was all of a sudden there would be like a little bit of black pigment will come through, and when I was using the yellow one, a little bit of blue pigment, like very strong blue pigment, came through all of a sudden, which is difficult to work around because you can't really trust the pencil's going to do what you need it to do. If you pick up a yellow pencil, you expect it to be yellow, you don't expect like a dark blue to come through. So that's a bummer. They are light fast tested. They do qualify for professionals to use them. They have a light fastness rating on the pencil, which is handy, but if you're using that pencil a lot, you will rub off the light fastness rating, and you will also rub off the name of the pencil, which even if they did sell them open stock, that would make them really difficult to reorder, because you wouldn't know what the colour of the pencil was unless you'd marked it down previously. When you've ran the pencil down to a certain size, they obviously become really difficult to hold when they're really small, and really difficult, more importantly I think, really difficult to sharpen. So what you need for that is a pencil extender. So I've got a couple of pencil extenders from different brands. I couldn't make the Arteza pencils fit inside any of those pencil extenders securely enough to be able to hold them properly, to sharpen them. They were a little bit too narrow. So again, I contacted Arteza, I just messaged them on Instagram and asked them if they sold their own pencil extenders, and they said no, bummer. But they are thinking of bringing those out in the future, so that's just something to bear in mind. You can make it work with the other pencil extenders, it's just not as secure a fit as these pencils. After a while of using them, I kept getting a really strange whiff, a bad smell. It smelled like it just smelled very chemically, and I've never had that before. I've been mostly a pencil artist for about 4 years, and I've only ever used Faber-Castell and Caran d'Ache pencils before trying these, and I've never ever noticed a smell. But with these I did notice a very strong smell every now and then, which was a bit strange. So if you are going to use these, I would recommend only using them in a ventilated room, because that smell, if you're like prone to headaches and things from certain smells, which I know quite a few people are, that might trigger a migraine, and also just sounds a bit toxic, which is a bit worrying, isn't it? Also, another con, it's normal on all pencils really that the pigment doesn't match the casing on the outside of the pencil, but it's much more noticeable with these pencils that like there's quite a big difference. Not in all of the pencils, but in a lot of the pencils, the casing doesn't look anything like the pigment that's inside, so you've really got to swatch everything first before you start drawing. You can't just pick one up and expect it to be the colour that's on the casing. So that's something to bear in mind. So onto the paper. What I did like about the paper, because I don't actually like spiral bound paper very much, because I always feel like the spiral gets in the way But what I liked about these drawing pads is that rather than being down the left hand side like they are in most books, the spiral was at the top. So because I always use a portrait, I always draw a portrait rather than landscape, so the spiral just never got in my way, which was really good. And they're actually, each page is serrated at the top, so when you're done it's really easy to remove the paper sort of with a kind of a straight edge at the top, which is nice. But the paper is very thin. It's 130 GSM, and even though it's marketed as a heavyweight paper, it's not a heavyweight paper. It's really easy to crease it and really easy to put a hole through it and really easy just to damage it in general. And I am a girl who likes very thick paper. I like paper that if I'm pressing really hard on it, it's not going to damage the paper and it's not going to lift the paper from the table or whatever I'm drawing on and put a crease in it. That freaks me out, that you can be working on something for so long and then crease it and then it's completely ruined. And something that I did notice when I was trying it out as well, if you had a lot of layers of coloured pencil or any sort of pencil, the paper can't stand it. It will buckle and it'll get bumps in it, which also kind of renders the artwork that you've made on it unusable. And as a professional, and these are marketed as professional products, you can't sell something that's damaged. In order for the paper to be sellable from an artist's point of view, it has to be, to a point, kind of indestructible, which is a stupid word to use, but it has to be better quality than that it's so easy to damage it when you're only working on it rather than setting it on fire. Another point about the paper is that both pads actually arrived damaged. When you order the paper, it comes in a set of 2, so you get 2 pads of 80 sheets, which is amazing as well for the price. I personally love to have a lot of paper. It just makes me feel satisfied in a way that I can't really describe to people that don't understand how that feels. Having a big wad of paper is just satisfying to me. Makes me feel good. But when I opened the pad, it looked to me like something had been on top of the paper and had put a dint all the way through both pads. Like there were very few usable pages in there that didn't have this same dint in it. So I don't know whether that is because of how they've packed the paper or how they've stored the paper, or whether that was something that happened in transition. But again, I use a lot of paper and that's never happened before. I've never had something arrive, especially 160 sheets, that's got a consistent dint all the way through practically all of them. So I was pretty annoyed about that. But I did find some that were usable, which I've used for these pieces here. To sum up, who I would recommend these pencils to would be if you are starting an art career or you're interested in starting an art career using coloured pencils. If you really feel like you need a full set of colours, it's not smart to throw all your money at a box of pencils if you're not sure that you're going to be able to make a career from it. So it makes much more sense to go in with the cheaper supplies, and then later on, if you're making a lot of money, then you can invest in the best ones. But still, there are colours in there that you're not going to get from the Faber-Castell or the Caran d'Ache ones, so it's still helpful to have them. I hope that made sense. I hope that was helpful, because honestly, I sit here and I'm talking, and while I'm talking I feel like I'm not making any sense. I feel like I'm not getting my point across, even with all of my preparation and all of my notes. I feel like I'm just babbling on, but usually when I sit down to edit it, I'm like, oh, I get it, Camille, I see what you're saying. So hopefully when you watch this video, you get what I'm saying as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. I'm doing 2 videos. Well, actually, I say I'm doing 2 videos a week, but it's very, very close to December and I'm considering giving the Vlogmas thing a go. I don't know, let me know what you think. Should I try Vlogmas again? It's gonna be a tricky one, but I really, really want to do it. So for now, there's a video today which you've just watched. If you've got this far, thank you so much. And there'll be another one tomorrow and possibly Vlogmas, but if not, 2 videos a week, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you tomorrow for another video. Bye!